Hey, welcome to another class of Tuesday Night Beer School with me, Chad of Chad's Beer Reviews. Going solo, no guests this week, and doing yet another of the Czech lagers. There's only 4 in the series, so we're on the last one. Style 3D Czech Dark Lager, a rich, dark, malty Czech lager with a roast character that can vary from almost absent to quite prominent. Man, that's really quite a range there. Malty balance and an interesting and complex flavor profile with variable levels of hopping that provides a range of possible interpretations. All right, comments. This is a combination of the Czech styles. More modern examples are drier and have higher bitterness, while traditional versions often have IBUs in the 18 to 20 range with the sweeter balance. History. This brewery has been operating in Prague since 1499, produces the best-known version. Many small new breweries are brewing this style. Yeah, I was about to say that. Characters and ingredients. Pilsner and dark caramel malts, with the addition of debittered roasted malts are most common, but additions of Vienna or Munich malt are also appropriate. Low mineral content water, traditional Czech hops, Czech lager yeast. Style comparison. The beer is a Czech equivalent of a dark lager, ranging in character from Munich Dunkel to Schwarzbier, but typically with greater malt richness and hop aroma, flavor, and bitterness. And so our vitals. For pretty light beer, 4.4 to 5.8. That was the Amber lager was the same. IBUs 18 to 34. 17 to 35 SRM, so it is quite dark. I wanted to do a Czech versus American head-to-head, but I couldn't find any in my local Total Wines. I went to a few of them, so we're going to have to go with an American example. This is called Modernism. Czech-style dark lager, 4.8 ABV, brewed and bottled by Schilling Beer Company out of Littleton, New Hampshire. This can is old. It was from November 9th of last year. But that was my fault. I got this in my Christmas tableware crate, just sat in the fridge. So I will not penalize the beer if it's oxidized. That's on me. All right, so let's get into the glass and we'll start with the judging. All right, so I've got the Modernism in the Spiegel Lager glass here. But before we get into appearance, let's give it a whiff. Yeah, this has a nice kind of, almost like a coffee kind of aroma. Definitely that darker malt on there, almost like a cold brew coffee. Does have there's like an essence of sweetness here. It does kind of remind me of like a Schwarzbier, I will say. There is like slight, I think, like piney hops on here. I mean, they should be more like spicy or herbal. Yeah, to me it almost kind of reminds me slightly of like a black IPA or something like that, but yeah, it's roasty. It's I mean, I guess you could say like kind of an earthy hop thing, but it does not strike me as spicy like peppercorn or rye or anything like that. I'm trying to get that malt paste. I mean, ideally there should be Pilsner malt in there or Vienna Munich, something like that, continental malt. It doesn't. I think. All right, so it does smell like a little bready, but to me, and like also like with the dark roasted malts in there, I am picking those up. So yeah, let's see what the specs say for appearance. I'm sorry, for aroma. Medium to medium high, rich, deep, sometimes sweet maltiness with optional qualities such as bread crust, toast, nuts, cola, dark fruit, or caramel. That's interesting. All right, yeah, I might say bread crust, cola. Yeah, I mean, that could be like that kind of sweetness that I'm smelling. Dark fruit, caramel, yeah. Roasted malt characters such as chocolate or sweetened coffee can vary from moderate to none, but should not overwhelm the base malt character. Well, you know, I think they actually do a little here because that was the first thing I noticed. Low to moderate spicy hop aroma optional. Low diacetyl and low to moderate fruity esters may be present. All right, well, I'm not really getting much in the way of spicy hops. I don't get diacetyls, so that's good. And I don't really get fruity esters. It's very rare that you get esters on a lager just because of the way the yeast is. So how to score this one? I mean, I think it smells good, but I don't know how much that is to style. I like the roasted malt to me does overwhelm the base malt, so I'm gonna go kind of low on this one. I'm gonna go 7. I mean, I could maybe bump that up to an 8. All right, so appearance. Let's get it into the Spiegel glass. You can see coming out of the can, it is a much darker brown than the amber lager. I mean, it's just straight up brown or even dark brown. And once I got it into the glass, I mean, it pours that huge, huge foam. I had to wait a few minutes for this thing to settle down. At least it's still hanging in there. And it is, I will say, it is quite clear. This camera isn't really doing it justice, but it is a lovely, lovely nutty mahogany borderline burgundy color. I would not call this black. I mean, might look black on camera. It is not. It is, you know, very almost like a ruby type. Nice foam on it as well. All right, so let's check the specs on appearance. Dark copper to almost black color, often with a red or garnet tint. Yep. Clear to bright clarity. Yep. Large off-white to tan persistent head. Yep. All right, so it is banging on all cylinders, at least as far as appearance goes. So I'm going to give it the full 3 out of 3 for that. If the keyboard would work. There we go. All right. You know what part of the review it is now? My favorite part, where you get to actually drink it. Cheers. First thing I think that I noticed was chocolate. It's interesting because it definitely has like the flavor of chocolate, but without the sweetness of chocolate. It also has kind of like a coffee and just like a generic like half and half type creamer flavor to it. It does finish with a quick roasted malt flavor. Bitterness is fairly low on it. But it's enough to kind of notice, give it a little bit of balance there. It's not, obviously not to the extent of like a stout or anything like that. But I mean, for a dark lager, it is, quite a bit of roasted malt, which you don't tend to get. If I let it sit on the tongue, there is a little bit of like a cola flavor, kind of like the Schwarzbier. I don't think I get anything fruity on here. To me, this is actually more bitter and a little bit more roasty than the Schwarzbier was. It has this lingering aftertaste. I think it's like kind of like a hoppy combination of like hops and the roasted malt aftertaste. So almost like kind of like again like a cold brew coffee. Not like your hot breakfast coffee off the percolator. More like a cold brew kind of thing. Actual hop flavor is very, very low on here. I think it's slightly spicy. I think that's like kind of a little bit of like a spice aftertaste, like rye, peppercorn, something like that. So let's check the specs for flavor. Medium to medium high, deep, complex maltiness dominates, typically with malty rich Maillard products and a light to moderate residual malt sweetness. I don't know if I would use those terms to describe that. Maillard is like toast and all that. I mean, I get roast on here, not toast. Malt flavors such as caramel, toast, nuts, licorice, dried dark fruit, chocolate, or coffee may also be present, with very low to moderate roast character. All right, so they're saying very low to moderate. To me, it seems moderate at least. It might even be a little bit more than moderate. Low to moderate spicy hop flavor. Yeah, I think that's what that lingering aftertaste is a bit of a spicy hop flavor, but also again piney. Moderate to medium low bitterness, but should be perceptible. Yeah, medium low. Yeah, okay. Balance can vary from malty to relatively well balanced to gently hop forward. Interesting. Low to moderate diacetyl and light plum or berry esters may be present. I don't get diacetyl. It's like a butter, and I don't really get any fruitiness on here. This is a tough beer to judge just because I don't have much frame of reference. I haven't had this style in years. If I had an authentic example, to do a side by side, it'd be great. So I'm gonna have to kind of like spitball here a little. So let's give it a score here for flavor on a scale of 1 to 20. Some things are there, some things are not. To me, it seems a little Americanized. I think they might have thrown some American hops in there, or all American hops in there. I'm gonna go 14. Mouthfeel. What's going on with this? It's only 4.8 ABV. It just feels like a stronger beer. Like the Amber Lager, that was pretty strong at 6%, and it had, quite a bit of mouthfeel to it. This is, I would say, it's at least medium body, maybe a little bit more than that. Carbonation is probably about medium, so it's kind of like medium. Real easy to drink, real drinker friendly. I'm having no problem just crushing this. This is something that I would like to have on hand at all times. But again, I got this on Tavour, link in the description below. Um, yeah, if you can get this in your area, I would definitely pick some up if it was, reasonably priced. Yeah, so for mouthfeel, I'm gonna go medium. There is definitely a bit of a spicy hop aftertaste, slight pine or resin on there too. But yeah, pretty fun and easy to drink. So let's see what the mouthfeel specs are. Medium to medium full body, considerable mouthfeel without being heavy or cloying. Okay, that's exactly how I would describe it. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a little bit more than just medium. Moderately creamy in texture. Yeah, I would agree with that. It's pretty smooth. Yeah, smooth. Moderate to low carbonation. Can have a slight alcohol warmth in stronger versions. Well, it's only 4.8, so yeah, no alcohol on here. So, I mean, it is banging on all cylinders as far as mouthfeel. It's not... It says moderately creamy in texture. It's not that creamy. I mean, it's certainly more... So, like, the spectrum is like, crisp, dry Pilsner lager on one end and creamy, milk stout on the other end. I'm actually going to go pretty high on that one. I'm not giving it a full 5, but I will give it a 4. Overall impression, I think it's good. It's not great. I think it's a little Americanized. I actually like the beer as it is. I just don't think, like, it lives up to the specs that well. Again, this is why you need, like, 2 or 3 other examples to kind of, have a good sample size to pull from. So I could go 6 or 7 on this one. I've been kind of harsh, so I'm going to go 7. So that gives us a total score of 35. Yeah, just like with the amber lager. So it's a fine beer. It's not world class. It's pretty good for, the style. At least it's not oxidized, which is good, because this can is pretty old. All right, so I guess we're finally done with all the Czech lager styles, but we're not going in any order here. We're just going completely random. So as always, if you watch all the way in, you're awesome. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next week for another class. Cheers.
Somebody brewed it, Chad just reviewed it. Thanks for watching Chad's Beer Reviews. Trust me, the next episode will be a lot better.